Park. Today's another one of our segments where we'll be discussing the upcoming board meeting. So the board meeting that we'll be talking about today is August 28th. Obviously it's a Monday. And so as I begin, I want you to remember that this is the new agenda format. So on Monday, August 28th, the board meeting will start at 7 o'clock p.m. sharp. And with the new agenda, there is no longer a committee of the whole. So at 7 o'clock sharp on August 28th, Monday, we'll go directly into the board meeting itself. And so typically, when I do this, and Monday nights when we do it, we usually have a committee of whole, and then those items carry over to the formal agenda. That doesn't exist now. So on the new agenda, we just kind of go right into the meat and heart of everything. So let's start. So this is the regular meeting of the village president and board of trustees for Monday, August 28th. So the meeting will start at 7 o'clock sharp. Number one is call to order. It's the roll call. Number two is the Pledge of Allegiance. Number three is public comments on agenda items. Number four is amendments to the agenda. And folks, number four would be if the president or board of trustees want to modify the agenda, take something off, delay something. They have some questions about that particular item. So that's number four. Number five is the consent agenda. So this week we have A, minutes from the Village Committee of the Whole and formal board meeting held on August 14th, 2017. B, bill listing for the weeks of August 14th and August 21st, 2017 for a total amount of $303,237.36. So folks, that's the entire consent agenda with the new agenda. So that's the consent agenda number 5 for Monday night. We'll have A and B. So we'll have the minutes and the bill listing, and that's it. So moving on to number 6, which is the first reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adding collection agency fees to delinquent amounts due to the village. And folks, with the new agenda, anything that requires codification to the village code, in other words, a change to the village code, requires 2 readings. And so number 6 is the first reading, and then September 11th will be the final reading. So on the first readings now, this is just an introduction. There's no vote. So then on September 11th, there'll be a vote. So the first reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adding collection agency fees to delinquent amounts due to the village. After seeing proposals, the village has hired a new collections agency, Municipal Collection Services, Inc., to track and collect outstanding village debts, primarily police tickets. Collection agencies retain a share of the funds that were successfully collected from debtors. In order to keep the village whole for these debts, we must adopt the ordinance in question that will add the cost of collection to debts that are sent to collection agencies. For example, let's assume a ticket debt is $100. Without the ordinance, the collection would try to collect the $100 debt. Once collected, the agency keeps 30% or $30, and the village would only receive $70 of that $100. With this proposed ordinance, the debt would be increased to $130. Once collected, the agency would keep $30 per the terms of the agreement, and the village would receive $100. So as the debt currently is $100, with this ordinance, it would be increased to $130, so the village would receive its $100, and the $30 would go towards the collection agency as part of their payment. So moving on to number 7 for Monday night for the agenda is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale by public auction of personal property and seized vehicles owned by the Village of Villa Park. So folks, now number 7 does not require codification to the village ordinance. In other words, this does not require a change to the village ordinance. So this is just a first and final reading. And the later ordinances resolutions are the same. So there'll just be the one reading. It'll either be approved or not approved, and you move on. So it's kind of a streamlined agenda now. Okay, so number 7, with the implementation of the new voice over internet protocol phone system throughout village offices, old phones and the accompanying equipment are no longer of use to village staff. Proceeds from the sale of the phones, phone equipment, and vehicles will be placed into the Equipment Replacement Fund and will be used to purchase additional equipment. So here's the first few items. We have 100 Mitel Superset phones. We have 7 office phones. We have 14 Mitel 5320 phones. We have 1 Mitel 5000 controller, and we have 1 switch. It's a 24-port switch that was used for the Mitel phones. And as I mentioned, we switched over now to VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol, and these phones are no longer useful to the village. However, possibly some other communities in our region or area still use these analog phones, which are a little outdated, but they may still use them and they may be of value to them. They're just not of value to us. Now switching to the vehicles that we want to sell, we have Village Vehicle 153, which is a 2004 Dodge Durango. We have Village Vehicle number 143, which is a 2008 Ford Crown Victoria. We have a seized 2000 Dodge Intrepid. We have a seized 1997 Chrysler Town and Country van. We have a seized 1998 Kia Sportage. We have a seized 1999 Chevy S10 pickup. We have a seized 1999 Buick Century. So we have some phones and so we have some vehicles. So it's kind of an interesting ordinance to consider. And these items, which if they're approved, will be on the Obanoff auction for sale. And then once sold, we'll put all the funds into the equipment replacement account like we always do when we buy more equipment. So moving on to number 8, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, accepting a bid with Chicago Land Paving for the Washington Green Infrastructure Project in the amount of $859,999.30. So the village will be receiving up to a $1 million Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery funding through DuPage County for green infrastructure improvements in the Washington Street corridor. The project will reduce runoff to the area, combine sewers, reduce flooding, and increase water quality. The project was publicly advertised and a bid opening was held on August 15, 2017, with 9 contractors submitting bids. Public Works staff recommends awarding a contract to Chicago Land Paving in the amount of $859,999.30. Funds would be taken from Stormwater Fund account number 68-502-10-299. So folks, obviously we received a $1 million grant for the green infrastructure project. So the engineering's already done. We're awarding the bid and moving forward with the project. So it's a great project, reduces flooding, separates combined sewers, and increases water quality. So fantastic. So moving on to number 9, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, accepting an engineering services agreement with Edwin Hancock Engineering Company of Westchester, Illinois for Phase 3 construction engineering services for the Bierman Avenue Combined Sewer Separation Community Development Block Grant funded project in an amount not to exceed $45,165. So the background is that the village has awarded a construction contract for the combined sewer separation of Bierman Avenue between Holly Court and Division Street. Hancock Engineering has submitted a proposal to provide Phase 3 construction engineering services to the village at a cost not to exceed $165. Funding for the project would be taken from the Wastewater Fund Combined Sewer Separation Account 83-502-04-292. And folks, as I sometimes mention, Phase 3 construction engineering is on-site construction oversight. So we'll employ an engineer to be on site when the improvements are being done in that particular area. And they make notes and they update the construction plans and look at the quantities being applied, things of that nature. So moving on to number 10 for Monday night, August 28th, is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an emergency purchase of pump replacements for the South Villa lift station with Flow Techniques Incorporated in the amount of $32,690. And the background for this is the South Villa Sanitary Sewer Lift Station operates on 3 pumps. One of the pumps recently burned up and cannot be repaired. Flow Techniques, Inc. submitted a proposal to replace pumps and wiring at the South Villa Sanitary Lift Station in the amount of $32,690. Funds would be taken out of the wastewater account 83-502-02-299 for these repairs. So folks, we have 3 pumps that operate at that lift station. 1 pump burned up, and so what we're doing is we're going to replace 2 of the pumps, and these pumps will be more efficient and they'll match, and we'll take one of the pumps that's currently operating and pull it out, and we'll put that on a shelf, and in the future, if we have a pump fail, we'll be able to pull that pump off the shelf and put it in and still operate on 3 pumps while the other pump's being replaced. And a little bit of background, that particular lift station on South Villa receives all the waste on the south side of town and then pumps it to Salt Creek Sanitary Sewer District. So they're very important pumps, and we need to make sure that they're operational and efficient. So moving on to number 11 for Monday night is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing change order number 1 to the contract between the Village of Villa Park and Orange Crush LLC for the 2017 street improvement project in the amount of $136,800. So the background for this item is that the village has a contract with Orange Crush LLC of Hillside, Illinois for the 2017 street improvement project. During construction, it was determined that large portions of the existing subgrade on West Adams Street between Addison Avenue and Ardmore Avenue were composed of very poor soils. Proposed change order number 1 consists of additional quantities as needed for the completion of additional pavement undercuts on Adams Street. The net amount of proposed change order number 1 is an addition of $136,800 for an adjusted contract amount of $2,158,800. The cost of this additional work would be paid out of Street Improvement Fund referendum account number 60-502-03-299. And folks, these substandard soils were between 2 soil borings, so we kind of had an idea once the road was removed that these soils were subgrade, and we tried to compact them and make it work without the extra cost, but due to heavy rains we noticed that that area was not maintaining stability, and unfortunately we're going to have to take that particular section out and replace it so that the subgrade, when the road is applied, is properly done so that the road does not crack and fail in a couple of years. We do not want that. So we want to do it correctly, and this is part of doing it correctly. Even with this amount, change order number 1, the cost of the road is still below the engineer's estimate, and they are not using the contingency amount within the contract. So we still have a little bit more money there also, if needed or not. So maybe at the final closeout of the project, there'll be a change order, but it'll be a deduction, hopefully. So moving on to number 12, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, accepting an agreement with Clark Dietz, Inc. of Chicago, Illinois for Phase 3 construction engineering services for the 2017 street improvement project in an amount not to exceed $68,718. The village had been using a seasonal employee to provide construction observation for the 2017 street improvement project. Due to an emergency medical condition, that employee is no longer able to perform the duties required, so Clark Dietz has submitted a proposal to provide Phase 3 construction engineering services to the village at a cost not to exceed $68,718. Funding for the project would be taken from the Street Improvement Fund referendum account number 60-502-03-292. And folks, the seasonal employee had a medical condition, and so he's not going to be performing these Phase 3 construction oversight duties. So we'll employ another person from Clark Dietz. Hopefully the salaries will balance out. Moving on to number 13, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing a contract with Corrective Asphalt Materials, LLC of South Roxana, Illinois for the 2017 asphalt surface rejuvenating treatment program in the amount of $75,133.26. The background for this item is that the village has a continuing program for extending the life of previously resurfaced and reconstructed asphalt pavements. A rejuvenating agent known as Reclamite will be applied to the surface of selected streets, thereby extending the life of the pavement. Village staff publicly bid the project with one contractor submitting a bid. Corrective Asphalt Materials, LLC of South Roxana, Illinois, submitted a bid in the amount of $75,133.26. There is $75,000 budgeted for this work in a street improvement fund account number 60-502-0299. And folks, we do this on an annual basis, and we look at the streets that have recently been done. They're asphalt, and we apply the Reclamite to seal up any cracks that have started, anything like that, because if the moisture gets in the crack and then over winter it freezes and then in the spring it thaws and then makes that crack get larger. So if we put this Reclamite on there, it makes the street pavement last much longer. Excuse me. So moving on to number 14 for the meeting Monday night, August 28th, is public comments on non-agenda items. And folks, that's the appropriate time for anyone in the audience to approach the podium and be recognized by the president and to make comments on non-agenda items. Number 15 for Monday night is the village clerk's report. Number 16 for Monday night is the village trustees report. Number 17 is the village president's report. And number 18 is the village manager's report. And number 19 for Monday night, August 28th, is the adjournment. So folks, it's a very streamlined agenda excuse me, for Monday night. And that's our new format. So the new format starts at 7 o'clock on Mondays now. And there's no dual readings like we have in the past, no committee of the whole. So we just start at 7 o'clock with the board agenda, and we move through things. And it causes, the item needs to be a change to the village code. There's two readings. It'll be the first reading. No votes will be taken. It'll be an introduction, and then the second reading will be the next meeting, and that'll be finalized. If it does not require a change to the code, it's just one reading, and boom, we're done. And then we're moving on to the next item. So it's very streamlined, very efficient, and we're looking forward to it. So I hope you do too. So if you have some time, please stop by and visit with us during the meeting, or at least view online or via Comcast, and take advantage of the time with us. So take care. Again, my name is Rich Keener. I'm the village manager for Villa Park, and hope to see you soon. Take care.